Suppose you are a guy who is living in a Western country, let's say, perhaps the United States, Canada, Europe, maybe even Australia or New Zealand, and you are the kind of a guy who has his act together but is really fed up with dating in these countries, you know, because of all these horror stories you either experience by yourself or you are hearing about, right? And you even maybe thinking of starting a completely new life in a different country. And I have met these people, you know. They are my age, you know, mid-40s, and they're thinking of that, you know. And maybe you were thinking of, even checking out Indonesia, you know. You heard great things about the woman and stuff, you know, and now it's coming on your radar, you know. And but the only thing really to establish a relationship with an Indonesian woman would be first in a long distance relationship. We call it also LDR, right? So this is what I want to talk about in this video, the risks of a long distance relationship. Is it worth to enter into a LDR, a long distance relationship? Is it a good thing? Is it worth it? Does it make sense at all? And I want to start this video with a personal story of mine. When I started to date my first real Indonesian girlfriend, that was the time when I had a real serious relationship. My first real serious relationship with an Indonesian woman. And we met about 10 years ago in 2014. And I was in Indonesia at the time. I was working there, boots on the ground, so that was my big advantage, you know. We didn't meet online. It was in the beginning not a long distance relationship. We worked together in the same place, in the same hotel, and we knew each other for a while, but we haven't started dating yet at this point. And she was not an online girl either, so she was not on any dating site or something like that. But over the years, you know, we kept in touch somehow, and later we became a couple, you know. And long story short, the whole thing did not work out, partly also because it was a long distance relationship, and she, my previous girlfriend, she was fed up with it. She couldn't stand it anymore. She was suffering from it. I will probably go into more details later in this video. So this is my experience with a long distance relationship. The best way, I already said it, is in order to avoid a long distance relationship is boots on the ground, you know. Either you work in Indonesia or you live in Indonesia, perhaps you are already retired in Indonesia, or you're planning to move permanently to Indonesia. This is the best way and the safest way also to find good women. Also, when you are boots on the ground, when you have your boots on the ground, you have all the time in the world on your hand, right? You are not in a rush, and this is another big problem I will discuss later. So if you cannot be in Indonesia, then the best thing for you would be to be where Indonesian women are. And these are places, for example, like Hong Kong or the Middle East, places like Dubai, Qatar, Bahrain, other places, perhaps also Saudi Arabia, you know. This is also a great place, the Middle East, to meet Indonesian women. So, but what if you are in neither of these places? You're not in Southeast Asia, you're not in Indonesia, you're not in the Middle East. You are in America, you are, I don't know, in New Zealand. So what are you gonna do? Yeah, the only real option you have is indeed to subscribe to an online dating site and get in touch with these women. I've done videos about the pros and cons of dating Indonesian women online. Long story short, it's worth it. Yeah, you can find plenty of good and serious women on these dating sites. It is different than these Filipina dating sites where you can find mostly only scammers. Let's put it like this, yeah. On the Filipina dating sites, you can find a lot of scammers. On the Indonesian dating sites, you will be more lucky in finding a good woman. This is my experience. Now, let's say you have met an Indonesian girl online, you started chatting with her, you are in touch somehow, you have a connection going. Of course, the best thing also I always advise is to meet up as soon as possible, yeah? But of course, that's a challenge for many guys because you live in America, you live in Canada, Indonesia is far away, so there's money involved and also time, right? You need time to travel, and preferably you want to travel not only for 1 or 2 days or a week, you want to spend at least 2-3 weeks, maybe even a month in Indonesia. And also money is involved because you need to be able to afford your trip. It's not cheap, right? You have to fly there and you have to fly back and hotels and everything, you know. It's very money intensive and time intense, right? So this is also you want to need to consider if you want to start a long distance relationship, because in most of the cases it will be an LDR, a long distance relationship in the beginning. Are you ready for it? Do you want it, you know? Does the girl want it, you know? Because it comes with sacrifices, you know, and also risks, you know? And we're gonna talk about these risks. But in my opinion and experience, risks are not only there to be avoided, risks are actually there to be managed, right? So it's like in investing, right? There are a lot of risks in investing, but you know, you have to learn to manage these risks, and then you're gonna be better off than most of the people. Also, I want to say, if you are already in touch with an Indonesian woman or a woman online, then you are in touch with her, you have a connection going, you certainly do not have a relationship going. So actually also the word, the term long distance relationship is actually contradictory, because if you never met this girl in person before in your entire life, then you don't have a relationship. You do not have a relationship. Do not make this mistake to think you have a relationship going. I cannot emphasize this enough. I've done the same mistake before. I thought, especially when I dated Filipina girls, you know, I thought when I'm chatting with them for like weeks and months, I have a relationship going, because she is so sweet and so nice and I can trust her and all that kind of stuff. No, you have just a connection but not a relationship. When you start to date this woman physically, face to face, then you can actually start talking about having a relationship with this woman, you know. But before, you only have a connection, in my humble opinion, because you don't know what this girl is up to, right? You chat for 1 or 2 hours every day. What is she doing after she switches off her phone or her laptop? You don't know. You don't know nothing, right? I will talk about this later anyway in this video. So what are the risks of a long distance relationship, or let's call it a long distance connection? It's actually a better term, right? Yeah, I mentioned it already. The risk is the distance, you know, and also the fact that you are connected, yes, via mobile phone, via a laptop, via social media. But I said it already, what do you know about this person? You know, you don't spend 24 hours with that person. As soon you or she switches off her phone, you know, you don't even know what's going on in her life. The person can make up a complete fake story, a fake narrative, you know, like it happens so many times. and this is one great risk. And in order to manage this risk properly, you have to meet this girl in person, boots on the ground. This is how you manage this risk, you know, to figure out and to sort out any potential scammers or liars or whatever, cheaters, you know, you name it. And another risk is, of course, that the girl, even she is, let's say, really honest and sweet and caring, and maybe she even loves you, you know, like it was the case with my previous girlfriend. The risk is that this girl will be fed up with this situation. And I remember my previous girlfriend, she was really suffering from this situation. And I was working at the time in Zanzibar, in Tanzania, in East Africa, and she was in Kuwait. That's a very long distance with those of you who are familiar with geography, right? We were both on different continents because we worked in our industry, and it was also not so easy to just, start all over. You know, I had my job, I earned my own money, and it was important to me also. And she also worked in her job, and it was important to her because she needed that job to support her family. So it was very difficult. I could not have asked her to just quit her job and come to me. I also was not ready to move to Kuwait because what can I do there? I would have no job, no income, so it wasn't easy. So that was also one of the reasons why I actually then stopped this relationship, because she was really suffering from that. She couldn't stand it anymore. She wanted actually to be together, but you know, economics and financials also play a role. Yeah, we could have moved together, and then what? You know, no income, you know, just breathing air and loving each other. So that was one reason why I actually ended this relationship. There were also several other reasons, but just for your information. So this is one risk when you are in a long distance connection. Yeah, it is something different when that was a relationship I had with this girl. That was a strong relationship, okay? But we were long distance. So now imagine, so that can actually work out also, you know? If you really want to commit and you really have strong goals and visions and plans for yourself, then a long distance relationship actually can work out also very well. And I know some couples who are making it happen as we speak. But there is this risk, you know, like I experienced, and especially you run into the risk when you never actually dated this person in person, when you never met her in person, you know. So in any case, be it you are boots on the ground inside of Indonesia, or you are in a long-term connection with this woman, my advice for you is to take your time. Yeah? Time is your friend, and you need to be patient to develop and establish this relationship. This is another thing with dating Indonesian women. You need to have a lot of time on your hand and practice patience. Some men, they make the mistake, especially when they date long distance, when they only do the online chatting thing, they fall too fast for this woman, you know, telling me she is so sweet, or thinking she is so sweet, you know, I can trust her without even having met this person, you know, face to face. So you have to be very careful with that. Again, especially if you are just chatting online and have never met this person in person, you don't know that person. So you have to be extra careful. You have to take extra time, and you have to be extra patient, you know, because this girl can make up any kind of story she wants. Although the situation is not that bad like in the Philippines, you know, online dating in the Philippines is a mess. In Indonesia, it can work actually out for you, you know. But still, you wanna be careful. Keep in mind, she is a stranger. You don't know her. Don't fall too fast. Don't start trusting her too fast just because she is sweet on video chats and video calls, you know. Use your common sense, you know. Use the same common sense you would apply when you are dating inside of your own home country, right? So don't do the things you wouldn't do if you would be dating online in America and Germany or I don't know, in the Netherlands, you know. Watch out for red flags, you know, and use your ability to judge and to discern properly. That needs to be developed, you know. Other people call it street smarts, you know. I find actually, in my personal opinion and experience, the ability to discern is one of the greatest skills one can develop in his or her own life. The ability to discernment is probably one of the greatest skills to navigate through your life. The ability to judge properly, you know, I'm not talking about judging people, also judging people in the way of, you know, to figure out who they really are, and judging situations, you know. So other people call it street smarts, you know, and actually one way to collect or to develop your street smarts is the Philippines, because the Philippines is a battlefield when it comes to dating. You know, this is my experience. So if you want to become a great dater, or a guy with great dating skills, or if you want to learn how to figure out women and how they tick and stuff like that, and if you want to learn about red flags, if you want to burn your fingers, if you want to make a lot of mistakes and learn from them, go to the Philippines and start to date. You will develop you will hopefully develop great discernment, and you will develop a lot of street smarts if you're willing to fail, you know. And yes, you know, either you are inside of Indonesia dating or outside, you need to allow yourself some time. You know, I think maybe the first 3 months is something like a probation period, but you know, this more applies when you are actually inside the country and dating this person in person, you know. Other than that, you cannot really apply the 3 months probationary period rule, you know. So just to recap quickly here, do I recommend long distance connections or relationships? Certainly yes. It is worth a try, especially if you have no other way to date Indonesian women other than online, okay? And as I mentioned before, the ratio of scammers to good girls on Indonesian dating sites is less than in the Philippines. Or in other words, we have less scammers, in my experience, on Indonesian dating sites than you have in the Philippines. This is my own personal experience I'm sharing here with you. Of course, I can only share my own personal experience with you. I cannot share your personal experience. It's not my experience. So if other guys have other experiences, then please come forward, step forward and share them with us. But it is just my experience that in the Philippines, the dating sites are full of scammers. I'm sorry to say, you know, but if you have a different experience, then let us know. So this is the good thing, you know, which should encourage you to start meeting girls online in Indonesia, you know, or Indonesian girls online, because the risk of running into a scammer is way lower, trust me. Yeah, but still, you need to apply patience. You need to take your time, you know, and you also want to look for, is she consistent in her behavior, you know? That you will figure out over time, of course. Don't make this mistake and judge this person too quickly, you know, after, like, I don't know, chatting with her only 2 weeks. and then already thinking she is the most or the sweetest girl on the planet, I'm gonna marry her. Don't do these mistakes. You know, you need to take your time. You need to vet these girls out. Yeah, and also, what I find very important, you need to check your own needs and desires. You know, this is what many guys who are dating in these countries don't actually do. They just give some advice, which is valuable, of course. But for me also, due to my own experience, it is important that you know about your own needs and your desires. Are you aware of them? Are you really aware of your own needs and desires? Are you a needy guy? Because if you are a needy guy, then you run the risk of, there is this risk of running into a special category of women who are very smart in figuring out if you are a needy guy or not, and then they will cater to you. I've discussed this in different videos, you know. So what do you really need and what do you want, you know? Are you suffering from a previous trauma, you know? A trauma caused by a relationship in former times. For example, I hear stories of many American guys who are divorced. That can happen, unfortunately, and now they want to start all over, moving to the Philippines, want to find a young, beautiful, sweet, caring Filipina. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you are, let's say, divorced and your marriage went down the tubes and you are disappointed with these Western women, these American women, and you also might have experienced great disaster in dating these women, you might have a scarcity mindset on top of your other bad experiences, you know, and then, you know, you are needy, you think there are not enough women around. So this is what I mean with, you need to check your needs and your desires, because your desires and your needs also are partly a result of your traumas in the past, right? And they will, your needs and your desires, they will kind of subconsciously direct you, and that's dangerous also, you know, that's dangerous. I'm speaking out of experience here, you know. I was a very needy guy many years ago when I started to date in Southeast Asia, and I was needy because I have had bad experiences with women, and some women took advantage of this, you know. So long story short, just check on your desires and needs. If you are a needy guy, then you need to figure out why that is. Yeah, this is my advice to you. And also, you want to ask yourself, I mean, if you're still in the beginning stages of dating, be it inside in Indonesia or online, you should ask yourself, are you eventually actually ready to move to Indonesia if the time comes? You know, maybe you found a girl and you want to marry her soon, I don't know. Are you really willing to move to Indonesia? Because most of the Indonesian women there, they refuse to leave their home country. They don't want to live in a Western country. Of course, I know Indonesian women who live in Western countries, but the majority, if they would have a choice, they want to stay in their home country because they love their country. Their family is there, and you also need to think about that, you know, because if you say, no, I want to stay in the United States, and she wants to stay in Indonesia, so what's the point? I mean, you're married then, but then you have a long-distance relationship, but what's the point? For me, there is no point. So you also have to think about that. Are you actually flexible? Are you willing to actually make the move away from your home country and move to Indonesia if your wife wants that, you know? Oh, this is also something to consider, because I think in the long term this is not going to work out if you guys are, like, let's say, already a couple for many years or even married, but you stay separated, you know. It didn't work out for me in my relationship, you know, in my previous relationship. So yeah, and I mentioned it already, but I want to say it again. Dating is a skill. You need to practice, and there is no, I don't know, foolproof advice, you know, how to make everything right and how to avoid mistakes. Online dating is also a great tool to learn, you know, about other people, about other women, and also about yourself. And physical dating is, of course, even more interesting and more useful in learning about yourself. It's not, dating is not only learning about other people, about other women and how they tick in their psychology and the dating dynamics and stuff like that, and cultural dynamics. It's also about, you learn a lot about yourself. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Dating is a skill. One need to practice and want to practice, especially when you are a Western guy and you come to Southeast Asia, and especially when you are coming for the first time to Southeast Asia and really want to maybe settle there and date these women. You have a lot of things to learn, trust me. You have a lot of things to learn, and as it is with any skill, when you start out as a rookie, as a greenhorn, then you will have to make a lot of mistakes, and so faster you make mistakes, so faster you will learn. This is the process. So more you practice, so better you will get. And this is the situation with Western guys dating Asian women. And the opposite also, these Asian women also, they learn and they will improve and they will get better. But especially for you, because most of the guys, they don't think that way. They just think, I'm a guy, I come to Indonesia and I start to date. Yeah, technically, yes, it is like that, but in reality, there's a lot of things, there are many things to learn when it comes to dating. And you date, you practice, you get better, you learn. And this is how you improve, you know. You learn about these women, you learn about yourself, everybody gets better. So with that being said, I'm checking out for today. Looking forward to your comments, of course. And are you someone who is considering moving to Southeast Asia? Maybe not only Indonesia, maybe you are considering to move to the Philippines or to Thailand or Vietnam. And then let us know why that is. Why do you choose Indonesia? Why not the Philippines? Or why the Philippines and not Indonesia? You know, I noticed that Indonesia is not on the radar of many men, you know, but it's coming now more and more on the radar. So let us know why that is. Why are you interested to move to Southeast Asia? Why are you interested to date these women? What makes them so special? Let us know, let me know. I'm interested to hear your story and your thoughts, you know. Maybe you are in the beginning of this entire process. Or maybe you are already married for 20 or 30 years to a beautiful Indonesian woman. And also let us know, what's your secret? What's the secret of your marriage? What's the secret of your happiness? How did you make it work? Did you stay apart or did you move together? Where do you live? Are you living inside of Indonesia? Are you living in Great Britain or I don't know, in Spain or France, you know? Okay, checking out now. Thanks for watching, and then I'm gonna see you in one of my next videos. Take care, bye-bye.